Hello Internet. Hey, it's Mike with 143. So I'm just trolling around looking for ways to help people. And I have found this post from Elizabeth asking about how to make a distress design solid. And so I'm going to give it a try. So I'm just going to download this image. Probably better to start with whatever image she has, her original. And I'm just going to upscale it in gigapixel. And I always say at this point that, I've shown you how to do that with free software out there in my other videos. So, go look for one of those if you don't have gigapixel. And I'm just going to choose Art and CG. And Art and CG is going to smooth a ton out, just the nature of gigapixel, So that's going to smooth a bunch out. And this would be way better to use like whatever original image that she's, bought. So that step of upscaling it, might not even be necessary. And then, I would open this in Photoshop. Now, of course, I always say this too, you can just do this with Photopea. So if you don't have Photoshop, just go to Photopea. And the rest of this is going to be pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to sit here and show you every single step, but I'm just going to take my paintbrush and just start cleaning it up. I might leave a little bit of that distress, a little wiggle somewhere in there. But I literally just have a hard brush and I'm just painting it. Okay, I'm gonna pause and paint it out. And when you got a straight line, you could just click once with your brush and then just hold shift and click straight down the edge. As you're painting, you just wanna stop every so often. So instead of just holding your mouse down the whole time, you want to, you got to hold your mouth right to actually do this properly. That's what my dad would say. But you want to stop, from time to time and just, I'm doing that shift click here. You just want to stop and actually, give yourself a break point. Because if you screw up, then you hit Control Z, and you don't want that to ruin lots and lots of work, so you just kind of keep painting, and I'm just leaving some little chunks and some little divots in the sides, things that I think will weed easily, I hope, rounding some stuff off, but leaving a little bit of chunk. But that's kind of what I'm going to go for the top there. And then down here on these smaller letters, we're just going to get this main stuff out of the middle, and we can probably leave little chunks like that in that 9 right there. Just gonna come around like this. We'll leave that one divot there. I'm using that shift click technique to just make the straight part straight. Really easy to do. I'll try to follow the same example we set there. And as the text gets smaller, you just want to decrease your brush size. And you can do that with the brush settings right here, or you can use the little tab keys on the keyboard that I'm always telling you about that are right next to the enter key. And you're just covering up the parts that you're worried about the trace picking up, because the last step is going to be to trace this and convert it to an SVG. And we're not worried about, minor variations in color. We're just really trying to nail the big ones. So we're just going to come through here. Almost done. And we are just moving on. This is one of those times, it's one of those very rare times where actually having not such a clean version of the image, like a messier, fuzzier version, is going to give you, smoother results. This is like the opposite of what we normally are trying to do, is sharpen things up. We're trying to smooth them out and fuzz them down. So, just almost done painting this out. Okay, so we've left mostly tatters around the edges, and we've really cleaned this up. So now I'm just going to come in a bit on it. So we're going to grab our crop tool. There's all this wasted space. I mean, this just makes life very hard for people like me. It's just too much of a waste. We'll just chop that, and then we're going to export it. Quick export as PNG. I'll just export it to my downloads. call it Gen X. And then we'll pop into Photoshop. No, Inkscape, excuse me. Pull it open in Inkscape. And then we're just drag it on, embed it. And I still haven't learned my lesson. You've seen me do this probably several times if you watch my videos. I need to change this to a 72. And then I paid attention, I'm going to change this back to 2000 up here. So I don't need a 1 of resolution. It just pulls in way too big into Inkscape. I'm done with that file. That was the last person I helped. And we're just going to pull that in. Hit OK. Get our trace and hit apply. And I wanted to get all the way to this point so that you could see what I would do at this point. So Control-Shift-R to fit it to it. And then just make sure all your text looks good. This is the trick, is to come in here and just see if you've got clean lines. And these look really clean. Super easy to weed. And if there were any traces left behind or, additional stuff you wanted to get rid of, say you wanted to get rid of those holes that I left, which I left those intentionally, you could do that at this point. If you see anything that's like just a floating little dot out by itself and see I left that one, that'll probably get lost in the weeding. Oh, like here's a perfect example. Like these tiny little small, like we don't want that. So let's just Control A. Once you select one, you just select one of the vertices and hit Control A and then deletes. I'm not sure if they call vertices, that's a 3D term. Little tiny things like this. And you can do as much of this or as little of it as you want. I mean, if you have too many vertices, if you do this and you look at it and it's just massive, if there's too many, this is why I wanted to get to this step. If there's just hundreds of these little things all around the edge, then you probably need to reduce your file size in Photoshop. Like instead of exporting at whatever size you're doing, go less. And then this is another thing to watch out for. So, I don't know if your cutter's going to have problems here, but if it does, like that looks like a double. Okay, so I call those doubles. I don't know what other people call them, and I'll just combine them. And you can just spot them in Inkscape. They're real easy to see because they're a different color. Like there's one right there, and you can see it's a different color. See how that's solid and this is kind of like lighter gray? Anyway, that should do it. So now we'll just trim it one last time. Or no, we've already got it nice and trimmed. Yep, okay. So we'll just do File, Save As, and save that as Gen X SVG. Hey, I hope that helps. Thank you for ordering your transfers from 143vinyl.com, and have a great day. Goodbye.